Hello, greetings, and welcome to Midday Motivation. Happy Juneteenth. On behalf of Sisters for Sisters Incorporated, I'm wearing my shirt. We're celebrating this special day, which is a combination of the words June and the 19th, and it commemorates the day more than 2 months after the end of the Civil War, when enslaved Black Americans in Galveston, Texas, were informed of their freedom. So today we are celebrating Juneteenth. Welcome aboard. We're also honoring fathers and the men that we love. We are so grateful to have you all. This is our third week, and we are just really happy to really honor the men that we love in our community and the men that are making a difference. Our theme for this year, Sisters for Sisters, is Arise Queen. It's your time and it's your turn. And today we are encouraging for the entire month of June for our brothers to arise, King. Kings, it's your time, it's your turn, and we're behind you. We're with you, and we're standing for you. Arise, King.
Arise, Queen. It's our time to reign, reinvent, restore, and refresh. Join Sisters for Sisters Inc. as we begin our 22nd year empowering and transforming the lives of women and girls in mind, body, and spirit. Despite the pandemic, we have continued to serve, support, and bring light in a season of uncertainty, challenges, and darkness. Join us as a participant or a partner. Sisters has exciting programs and impactful outreach in the areas of HIV/AIDS, sexual domestic violence, homelessness, girls mentoring, personal development, and many areas where trauma has impacted the lives of vulnerable women and girls. Or if you have a heart to serve and support others, join our mission and become an ambassador, partner, or volunteer. To learn more, visit sistersforsisters.org. Together, we can make a difference, one sister at a time.
One sister, one village, one vision at a time. That's what this Juneteenth is all about. That's all collaborating, coming together, supporting one another's, and living our best life collectively and in unity. So we're really grateful for our freedom to come together. And on this day, we're just really, really happy to celebrate our men. Invite them in. We have an amazing guest. I want to thank our sisters, our midday motivation team, Sister Diane, as well as my sister Karen and Sister Mary, who's with us today. We're happy to have you all on board. We welcome you for the past 120 weeks. This is week 120. We have been consecutively reaching out to really empower our community during the pandemic and COVID. We had so many resources, services, and programs, and we primarily wanted to just keep our connection so we could all go through this process in a healthy way, collectively just being positive and optimistic. This past weekend, we also continue to celebrate our men and our community. And I want to thank all of our Sisters for Sisters members, partners, and ambassadors for always stepping in and stepping up to show the world that together we can make a difference. The Fathers and Family Day bike ride yesterday was a day of celebration in our community. I want to thank our sisters who joined us and talked about and represented just what community of women looks like. Thank you, Mary, and thank you all the other ladies who were in attendance on yesterday. On Saturday evening, we had our sister Tia. We were one of the Kappa takeover, where we sent a message about HIV and AIDS in our community. With over 1,300 in attendance, we had our banners and all the things that we do that shared the message of staying safe and definitely knowing your status, whether about HIV AIDS, which is still going on in our community. Next, we had our special Father's Day outreach, which was outstanding. I want to thank all of our participants, especially our coordinator. She was outstanding, Sister Val Green. We went into the only men's shelter in Prince George's County, and we gave them boatloads of goodies, from snacks, brand new Bibles, nice shirts, socks, toiletries, personal care items, and most of all, a hot, delicious meal, which they love. And I want to thank one of our sponsors, the Quinn Cook Foundation, our brother Quinn Cook, NBA champion, 2 rings. He came out and he not only provided the food, but he also went in and spoke with the men, and they were so elated and grateful. That's what happens when we all come together. Thank you for moving for Jesus with Sister Ann, who was outstanding. She helped us with the toiletry bags and all of the personal care. We all came together and it was one beautiful outreach. So we're thankful. Most importantly, I want to acknowledge our Father of the Year. Yes, last year we had about 12 Fathers of the Year. The year before, to the pandemic, we just kept it moving. But we have an outstanding Father of the Year that I want to acknowledge publicly. He is an incredible Man of the Year and Father of the Year, and that is our brother Antonio Harris. On April 22nd of this year, there was a massive scare in the Van Ness section of Washington, D.C. Both Georgetown Day School and the Edmund Burke School was targeted by a lone gunman with 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Our beloved Father of the Year, Brother Antonio Harris, recognized the situation and alarmed authorities while risking his life and being shot by an AR gun. He sustained critical injuries while saving the lives of others. They didn't even know if he was going to make it. But this is a soldier and this is a hero. He is not only our Father of the Year, but he is our hero. He fearlessly saved lives. Tony, a former Marine Corps veteran and 26 years of service as a Metropolitan Police Department officer, prevented the active shooter from hurting or harming the scholars preparing to end the school day under the watchful eye of the shooter. The shooter had all this ammunition and he had a plan. But can you say God had a bigger plan? Yes, God had a bigger plan. Tony has dedicated his life to serving our community, and for that reason, Sisters for Sisters is pleased to honor him as our Father of the Year. We are grateful, Antonio, or Tony, as he's called, for your service, sacrifice, and courage, and using your life to shield our community from what could have been a massive tragedy. We honor and celebrate you, our Father of the Year, Mr. Antonio Tony Harris. Let's give him a hand. He's amazing. I thank God for his life and his sacrifice. So, with that said, and I thank you all for bearing with us and joining us, and invite some of the other men friends. We're going to be celebrating men for the entire month of June and beyond. Now, so our upcoming events, every Tuesday for the past 17 years, 18, we have hosted Sisters Tuesday prayer call. We have not missed one Tuesday. Not one Tuesday have we missed. So our prayer call is tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are excited to have a gentleman that I totally love. His name is Brother Thomas Farr. He is going to be leading us in prayer, 6 a.m. Bring your brothers, your fathers, your man, your sons, your nephews, your cousins, and all the men you love, and come on in the prayer call, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're really, really grateful to have him joining us on tomorrow. So without further ado, we're going to introduce to you all our special guest speaker for today, or our presenter. Um, I just want to say that he is such a gracious man, just a really, really great man who has a great heart for our community. Actually, he is our 2021 Hope Luncheon recipient. And the reason is because he cares about community, but he also cares about mental health. Brother Calvin Mann is an author, a community activist, a mental health advocate, and a champion for families. He's the founder of Encourage Me, I'm Young. He's also a man who is passionate about our families and our sons winning and suicide prevention and awareness, which is the reason we recognize him because our Hope campaign basically focuses on mental health, anxiety, depression, bullying, and he is a part of the village that is an advocate for this type of situation. And he was our honoree for last year for September. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to our guest today, Brother Calvin Mann. Calvin, welcome. Unmute yourself, my brother.
How you doing?
Fine. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well, very well.
Good.
At least, we're here, 10 toes to the floor, and excited about getting through this conversation.
Yes. Well, we're glad you're on. I just thank God for you and all that you're doing. I mean, we could be on here for 2 days, but we have hours time to just go through and just find out about who you are, what you're doing, and most of all, how can we duplicate this around the country? Because you're doing an amazing, amazing work. So talk to us about what makes you do what you do. What is inside of you that helps you do what you do? Because it's amazing. But you know what? Before we go there, let me introduce you um, to our panelists. We have Sister Diane and Sister Mary on today, and they may be asking some questions as well. So come on in the room, sisters.
Hello.
You all
Hello.
are welcome. You all are welcome. So, Calvin, tell us a little bit about you and your business and your organization.
Well, first, thank you. To make it as simple as it became purpose. In 2004, I started laying shirts where kids were getting killed. I am the son of Reverend Columbus and Ollie Bell Man. My parents were gospel pioneers, helped bring the world Oh Happy Day and many other songs, including Mattie Moss Clark, They Shall Be Mine. So I come from my parents who also helped thousands. Like my parents had charter buses, and growing up in this environment, I never knew that this is the direction that I was headed in. But um, from one thing led to another thing and brought me to the door of purpose. And so in 2004, I started laying shirts with kids who were getting killed with the idea of a solution. We do not think sometime culturally in the mindset of the solution. What is the solution? We have a lot of pain. And so we kind of, we're always snatching the Band-Aid off and revisiting the pain instead of allowing the wound to heal and proceed. Sometimes that's what is happening. So we just started. I started with one quote: "Time is all we have to change what we are." God gave me this quote, and I put it on a T-shirt. Where I was literally working at a T-shirt, a printing company for free on my off days from work to learn how to print T-shirts. And one thing led to another, and I printed these shirts. In the first place, I'm gonna go watching the news. A kid was killed, so I took a shirt to go offer hope. And one thing led to another, and in 2007, a mom gave me this nonprofit. My goal was to make our brand global, which we will, right? So our apparel was the first thing we really started with, and it has in the past maintained a certain level of encouragement, and it's been everywhere. It's been Iran's House, NFL Network, MTV. We put product in 7 countries. We're not understanding why it's not the favorite shirt, right? Because we're here, but what we do understand is the work. And
Mhm.
so put my hands to the plow and didn't look back. And here we are 15 years later, over 21,000 youth impacted, and 63% male, well, 68% male. We have a 98% parental involvement in our parenting program. And all this work is geared toward the restoration of family, and also run an organization called Good Fathers Only.
Mhm. I love that. I mean, you have such an outstanding record, 21,000, and the fact that you come from such lineage, it's in the DNA, of course, I'm sure. A lot of it. But talk to me about some of the programs that you have, because you mentioned a parenting class and some other programs. Talk to us about what that looks like.
So in probably back in 2009, 2010, I was working in the juvenile facility, and I noticed that they were going out to pick up kids on writs. Writs is like it's just another way of saying felony, right? So they're gonna pick these kids up on writs, juvenile writs, and they're gonna bring them in to fill up the beds. Like, so that blew me out of the, like, I'm not working here, right? They start cutting my time because I'm asking, where are these kids coming from? Because the pods were empty. And so I come to find out that they were going out to pick up these kids on risk just to fill the beds up to keep the money coming. At that point, I snapped, and they started cutting my time. Literally, they just started cutting my time to where I wasn't getting any more days because of that, right? And
Mm.
I've seen a number of things in the juvenile where they literally, the guys that was handling these kids literally was kids bringing kids back for a basketball game. Like, that blew me away, right? So I snap, I go out and grab 350 boys with another partner, Brother Parker, who has preceded us in death. And we work together, and we grabbed 350 boys from a number of areas on the east side. And we did not have one fight. We didn't have not one fight. Our number one rule at that time was you couldn't call each other the N-word. So that was our first rule. Second rule was no stealing, right? This is going to come to an end if we violate these two codes alone. So from there, I moved on, and because of the church and the gym that we was renting, um, this deacon or whoever they were they was getting all the money, so they got all the money, so we had to move, right? So, and it ended precisely. Our goal was 15 weeks, and we ended at 14 weeks. So took that 14 weeks, and I put on Facebook one day, hey, I need a gym. And so
Mhm.
then my brother Rodney Jones, who's he's in Atlanta, he answers me. Well, at the same time, I know the pastor, but I don't know the pastor is in this church, right? So he brings me through to take me on a tour. I was like, yeah, we can do a lot.
Mhm.
And so we're still registered at that church. That's still our home since then. And so we do a mentoring program. Our mentoring program to date is an award-winning mentoring program. 14 weeks. In 14 weeks, we can transition a kid's life. We know once we bring them through the door, we can transition his life.
Mhm.
So our parental involvement is so high because we want to organize inside our parental involvement is a program called Boss, Building Our Sons, getting the information to the mothers and the parents that they didn't have on how
Mhm.
to handle these boys. So when your son comes back into the home, here's some things that must change, right?
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
we took off a number of things, like quitting, kids quitting sports, and talking how it's too tough. We took that off the table. How you learn to respect, you took that off the character building things, right? You know, because a lot of our kids, when they get into something, right, it gets difficult and they don't endure. So you don't learn that skill that
Mhm.
you needed to get out, or whatever you need to get that out. So in
Good.
the 14 weeks, we put you through, you know, a lot of running and talking and reading. As a matter of fact, in the 5 contact hours we have, 1.5 is spent reading, right? And so they have to stand up, present themselves, they have to carve out their plan, and throughout that process, we're pulling that emotion out. At
Mhm.
the same time, that's what's happening in the 14 weeks, right along with the parental involvement. Then I'm always asking, where is dad? Right. So this year we incorporated a Father's Day right in the middle of our program. Bring the fathers in. Let's find out what's their issues, what's their problems. And you know, we brought him in. One of my mentors is about to be a doctor, Dave Patterson, and so Dave conducted this Father's Day, right? Meanwhile, we were still working with the kids. Then I brought in one of my former coaching partners, Celine Movement, and we started teaching the boys Arabic. And so in that process, then we brought in Chase, my sister Stacy Hunter, and so she comes in and teaches financial literacy, right? And as we go through these 14 weeks, they also have to do community service. So we're teaching the boys servant leadership and understanding through these 11 pillars of character that they can become the future leaders of tomorrow.
Bravo, bravo. I love this. It needs to be duplicated around the country. That is a phenomenal layout and platform for our young sons. Wow, wow, wow. Can Diane, you or Mary have a question? That is amazing. I love the program.
I don't have a question right now, but you just said that the program that makes these children, I guess, come out of their box, more or less, and become somebody. How do you do with girls? Are they in your program as well?
No,
Oh, no girls, just boys.
all boys, men, husbands, and fathers.
Okay.
Love
I
it.
stay directly in that lane,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
Boys, men's, husbands, and by father. In fact, you know, people often ask, as far as our mentoring, we years ago we tried, but it just for us, we seen how important that it is to prepare these young men in that age group of 8 to 14. They're in organizations. When it comes to organizations, the women organizations outnumber the male organizations. There are not enough male organizations, but everyone rocks our apparel, right?
Mhm.
But the message, and we do awarenesses. So we do a smash suicide campaign. We do a respect day. Everyone's involved in all our awarenesses, right? And that's the importance of bringing everybody together. That's why we have the whole family during our mentoring program. We have a family day where everyone comes in, right?
Where were you 27 years ago?
I was 27 years ago. I was actually doing this work. I've been involved in this work for 37 years.
Yeah,
Really? 'Cause I wish my younger son had, but he's good. But you know, he could have used
I don't know where mine is.
type this type of energy. But he's good. I mean, I kept on him. He's good. But
That's awesome.
that helped me a lot with him.
That's all. I mean, I'm answering that call for mothers with sons,
Mhm.
as I have a book that I just brought out that we're doing pre-orders on now called 15. It's called Things Fathers Should Say, and it's for mothers with sons.
Okay.
Collection of advice from a number of fathers,
Mhm.
right, that can go into the hands of mothers who have sons, so they'll have an idea that these are the things that men say to their son.
Mhm.
I think we've become such a sensitive nation that we're trying to corral what the father actually brings to the table, right? And so we miss those things. And then I got 15 things you didn't know about fatherhood. So I just dropped 2 books on fatherhood.
Mhm. That would have been nice, but like I said, I have 2 sons, and they're good boys. They came out good. They told me I was too hard on them, but they're good boys. One,
Mhm.
one was in the military for 20, and the other one is a firefighter. So
Yep, good job.
no trouble,
That's
no
really
trouble
good.
at all. So I'm
There
thankful.
was their father involved at all?
He would come in and out. He wasn't there steady.
But he was there.
He was there in and out, but not on a regular basis.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a little input, but I did the most.
Well, I like the fact that you acknowledge him. Sometimes what we have to do is really speak volume to the fact that he was there, right?
Right.
And whatever presence that he did bring, obviously he has a relationship with his children, and so right, always incorporate the fact that he was there, right?
I did.
Yep, always incorporate that. Never. One of the things I tell mothers all the time, if a father was involved, whatever his involvement was,
Hmm.
right, incorporate his involvement through your words, because that pulls more.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause I never downed him, never
That's
did
good.
not allow him not to come. It was open. So
That's good.
everything, basically on his part was up to him.
That's awesome, because
Yeah.
that's what they need.
Yeah.
They really need. They need that fathering, big time.
But thank you.
Yes, ma'am. No, I'm with you.
Listen, listen, I wanted to say this to you all. That is beautiful, Mary, that you did such a great job with your sons. But I want to ask you, in terms of your programs, I think that you was sharing building our sons. Is that a virtual type of program? Because I might add, please tell the audience where you're physically located. I didn't share that.
I'm physically located in Detroit, Michigan, and looking to do exactly what you said, Carolyn, which is multiply our work. We do a number of we position ourselves in a number of ways to ask funders and people and corporations to see this work and help us to multiply it. Like it's just incredible, right? Because we can answer some of these ills when it comes to boys in this age group, 8 to 14. And so that I'm with you on that. And that's our goal. We already have 10 cities on our website that we're most definitely interested in. Baltimore, Maryland is one of them. Louisiana is another one. There are a number of areas, Puerto Rico, there are a number of areas where males, right, are not marginalized, but just not guided properly. And so we call them our 10 promised cities.
I love that. In fact, especially when you said Baltimore and Maryland, because Lord, I just wonder, what do you think about all the rising crime in our urban areas and really across America? Do you think there's something to be said for maybe some of the programs like the one that you're presenting? Do you think that could make an impact in helping us to be more prevention wise, helping to end some of the crime waves?
Yes, and I'll tell you something that's amazing. Long before we discovered that Baltimore, Maryland, one of the things I looked at was the crime in the inner cities across the country. I was always looking at the murder rate, right? So when you go and look at the numbers in the Black community, right? When you look at the Black and the brown communities, and you look at these other communities, because everyone always says, when we're talking about Black on Black crime, everyone says, well, you kill within your region, right? If you're together, that's more than likely that that's where the crime happens. So,
Mhm.
they have a high percentage of Black on Black crime. They have a high percentage of white on white crime, right? They have, but you don't have the media. They have the media, right? So they can determine exactly how you look through this media, right? Just like they talked about fathers. But let's really look at the numbers. probably since, I probably say since 1968, right? Millions. And we're not just talking about thousands, right? Millions of Black males have been murdered. Right? Everybody's talking. Somebody posted on my posted on Facebook about since when, this was the comment, since when did we start killing kids? Well, we've been killing kids, right? You've been killing kids for over 50 years, right? The number 2 way for a child 1 to 4 to die is homicide within your community. You got to reap that. So if you don't stop that, you have to reap. And so what is happening is repeating. But what is the real connection? So when you go look at the connection, what you find is majority of the murders, majority of the rapes, majority of the violence comes from fatherless homes, right? So we've been kicking dads out from the system. Let's just take a look at the system. In 1970, from the system, we've been kicking dads out, and dads offer a variety of solutions and love and understanding in the lives of our children. But they didn't have the knowledge of who and what they are in the 70s because we were reeling, right? We didn't have the knowledge of how really good a father was and how he needed to conduct himself, right? We didn't even have, coming into the 80s, you only had 1% of your culture as fathers really had access to their children on a daily basis. So when you look at these numbers, you are both the problem and the solution.
Mhm.
And that's where we have to fix. We have to fix this idea that it's okay to murder. And that's a tough battle because it's connected to a mindset that money is more valuable than a human being. And that's where we got things all wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a good point. You know something, your perspective is so fresh and it's so I love it because sometimes when we're on these front lines and doing this work, I feel like I'm the only one that gets it. Does does anybody else hear what's going on in this world with
Right.
our youth and with our community? And so thank you as a strong man in our community for showing and for sharing what we really are dealing with our young men and our boys and our families. I want to show a little bit more about some of the other things that you're doing in
Yes,
our
ma'am.
community.
Emotion spilled into the street near the house where the little girl's body was discovered. Action News reporter.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There comes a time when you can't tell no more lies. The child that you love can see it in your eyes. Over and over, you continue with this man. Your child is under a lot of pressure, and we all have lots of stress. Encourage me, I'm young. Encourage me, I'm young. Won't you stay right by my side? I'm young. Encourage me, I'm young. Encourage me, I'm young. Take my hand and be my guide. Please be my guide. Mother and father must take a strong stand. And lead one another to the promised land. They'll see you. Time and time we wonder what will happen to a man. The more we stay in the direction we lead, we follow the devil's plan. Yeah. Encourage me, I'm young. Encourage me, I'm young. Won't you stay right by my side? I'm young. Encourage me, I'm young. Encourage me, I'm young. Take my hand and be my guide. Please be my guide. Can you help me? I can't hear you. Please help me. I wanna be near you. You may not wonder the choices that you make. When you come home late at night, you shouldn't be seen as fake. They'll see you. Time you spend, it's the time you lose. It's time you will abuse. So take your child's side, because time you cannot lose. Encourage me, I'm young. Encourage me, I'm young. Won't you stay right by my side? I'm young. Encourage me, I'm young. Encourage me, I'm young. Take my hand and be my guide. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Whoa. Don't take no more, my baby. Whoa. Don't wanna lose no more. Don't take no more, my baby. Don't wanna lose no more.
Totally powerful. Don't take no more of my babies. Don't take no more. I love the music. Oh my goodness. Now, Calvin, that is outstanding. I love that entire piece. So moving, so touching. Where does that come from? I know your parents, it's in your DNA, but the words just touching. I mean, I am in tears listening to it. Where did that come from?
I was uh I can only say God, because when we first did it was at a cousin of mine, Clarence Barber. We was making this music, right? And I just, make this track. And I laid back on the bed and I say, play it again. And I sang the whole song, hook and all, right? And it was a couple of years later, we go into the studio, we pull it off, and we process it. And then I sat on it again, right? Just looking for the right moment, right time, right place. Got some more money and really went and had it mastered. And then from there, found the guy, young man, girl, come shoot the video. We picked 3 of the locations. One of the locations where the 5-year-old girl was murdered. They found her in the house burnt, 5 years old. The field I was standing in was where, a father killed his 15-year-old son. right? The school I was standing by is where my niece was murdered. And the scene from the funeral, from the funeral home, Woodlot Cemetery, the opening scene, that's where my parents, grandparents, and all are buried. Right. And so the object of the song was to bring home the fact that the acceptance, we have accepted these things as norm.
Mhm.
And instead of accepting the idea that, culturally, over here, you handle this part right here, you in your lane doing the AIDS work, we over here, we don't have to clash
Mm.
in solving these problems,
Mm.
right? We can really work through these problems. And so that's the song Encourage Me I'm Young, really, that's where it come from. And the words
Mm.
Encourage Me I'm Young was given to me in 1992 while working in an all-white daycare.
Wow. In the daycare. That song just sounds like an anthem, Calvin, for today where we are. Because that's
And I
the
agree.
no, go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
no, I agree. I agree. I
It's
I I
just
just assume people would, right? But our minds are in a different place. I'd
mm,
assume that I would get calls, people, um, booking agents. We are on something that I can't even fathom. But what we do, what we're maintaining to do, is why we're going to keep escalating those numbers, right? So we're going to go from this 21,000. We're going to escalate the numbers. Like we got a goal in those 10 cities, 100,000 boys. We know that we can impact them by pulling fathers, and we can help the broken father, the father that's not seeing his kid, the father, we can bring him in, train him, and help him.
love that song. It's not haunting, but it's in my heart. And it has a hook that won't go away. And I feel it's going to be because I am a member of Moms as well, Demand Action Against Senseless Gun Violence. So I've been a gun prevention advocate for years, since Sandy Hook. And so when I hear that song, that's a mother's cry. Don't take no more of our babies. So I just don't know what happened in the past, but I think this is your season, your harvest season. So definitely just know your work is not, it's not going to go unnoticed for long because I'm going to be
No,
doing it. It's time.
right.
It's your time.
Well, it's our time, right? It's
Right.
really
It
right.
is.
It's
Mm-hmm.
time that, for us, it's just really time that the kids, the boys, right,
Mm-hmm.
get the necessary love, encouragement, and guidance so we can stop cutting prisons, things like, because we have two different economies. And it's funny you say what you said. We sent uh, a box of 100 t-shirts. We raised money for Sandy Hook with the quote, "Love is the one thing you can take to heaven."
Mm.
They never responded, right? We never, all we know is they got it. We never saw pictures or nothing. So they took off on their own thing. But I tell any and everybody that will listen, we sent product to Sandy Hook, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we sent that message. Love is the one thing you can take to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And so uh when you're talking about these things, and and to hear the story, I get emotional, right? When I see, like when you played the song, I got emotional because it was another opportunity for someone to experience what I've been living with
Mm-hmm.
for since 2004.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, I love the video, but the song will not leave my mind. But I want to ask you, what if there's a male organization that really loves what they're hearing? Is there a curriculum or a program or training that they can get involved in? Because there are so many organizations, I think, that really could use your training or programs to duplicate it across America. How would that happen, or could that happen?
It most definitely can happen. It's just going to take a considerable amount of resources and the right amount of money, and then being able to set up the proper the area, making sure that we have these tools in play, from the parents to the gymnasium, right? I taught basketball for many, many years. We just use the ball. I have not taught these kids basketball. We just use the ball, right? Just to get them active, because a lot of the kids just think that they can really play. When we transition into that area, this thing will be completely different. I don't want it to be that different. I want us to understand that the character development is more important. Like, my brother just became the head coach at Grand Valley, the first Black coach at Grand Valley State University, and my cousin got the head coaching job at Western. And so these two young men, when Mr. Curry gave me a whistle, he opened up the door. Those two young men were in the gym. So I was 20. So that's why you hear the 37 years ago. I'll be 57 this year. In that process, we can most definitely duplicate it, right? And we can set it up where they can purchase the curriculum. We come in and train it, all of that. We have no problem multiplying the effort. It's the integral part. See, our mentors cannot commingle with the parents. So you can't, because what's going to happen is you're helping someone's child, and they're going to become emotionally drawn to you.
That's good.
Right? And
Yeah, that's real talk.
so if that's the case, we cannot have men, right, sleeping with these women
Tell it.
and our mentoring program. So
Tell it.
that's one of our biggest things to the male mentors. There's no fraternize. I don't care what the situation is, right? We're not doing that, because all you're doing is creating more damage when you do not go through with marrying this woman. Creating more damage. And because of that, then the kid is losing another male figure. And for us, we cannot afford that to happen to the child. And so that's the other thing. Are you able to maintain your prowess on not taking advantage of a vulnerable state of women, right? Because it's very easy to do so.
That's some real talk, and I appreciate that. I thought about that before, but I can absolutely see what you're saying, and I like the fact that sense to that, even though you work with the men, which I love that, and you're staying right in your lane. We work with women, and that's a very tender spot, especially when a man comes in and he shows attention and time with your kid. Oh, you're in love. Even if you not in life, you love him because of what he's bringing to your child. So thank you for being aware and keep you. Now, you got a book, Others That's Raising Sons. Tell me about that book and how we gonna order our book. I want mine today.
So soon as we're just in the final stages. We're taking pre-orders. Part of the thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on my Good Fathers Only site as well, right? We're working on the second edition for my children's book, Adventures of Oba and Luther, where in the children's book is nothing but family. It's family. Everything. Both kids have both parents, right? We're redirecting the energy to make sure that it shows how important both parents are. And so it'll be within a week. I'll send you the text. You can send it out to everybody. They'll be able to grab it. Bring me in. I'm looking for a booking agent now. The whole nine to be able to go across the country and spread this information and this knowledge that God has given me from this type of success that we're having and have had.
Mhm.
You know, and I really didn't for years. It's funny, for years, seeing yourself as this person that you become, right? Seeing yourself in purpose and understanding what you carry and the value of what you uphold. God is at the center
Mm.
of my life in this work, and I have to maintain the integrity of the purpose to see it through.
Amen. You've got so many great things going on. I want to ask you, oh boy, I'm supposed to have a hard close, but see, let me say something. I could talk on and on with you. We're gonna do a virtual book signing with you. We're gonna schedule a time because I know a lot of mothers who need the book. How would we reach you if we want to book you? If I have somebody from the NFL or NBA tuning in, how can they tap into this power? Give us your contact information.
Well, you can most definitely reach me at emiyworld.com. You can also tap into me directly at calvintman@gmail.com. You have all of the information, and you can share it. That's a great way of tapping into me. You can inbox me. You know how we get on, and it's just so it's so important for me, just like getting this information out and this book, but having these conversations on how important, because we've been throwing away life-changing information when we throw away a father. We've been throwing him away because he didn't have or didn't present himself in a certain way, but his presence is so valuable. We didn't want to hear it. So the lack of respect, right? We have conversations, you know, and me and my wife talk about this all the time, but I said the very conversation that women have for their sons is the one they're supposed to have for their husband. And the one that they have against their husband is supposed to be ready for the son, right? Therefore, what has happened is the son stayed, the husband's gone. But had you reversed those conversations, the husband stayed and the son is gone.
That's good. And y'all got to check this one out because he is so full of wisdom. I want to thank you for being on today. Thank you to my co-host. I'm going to be tuning in with my brother today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about women, girls, HIV, and AIDS. We in this love together. I could go on and on, but my director is saying, you better wrap it up, young woman. Calling me young, I'm saying that. But I am so grateful to have you, brother. And I am going to be sharing more information. And we will be doing a book signing for you because there are plenty of women in my circle that need what you have. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you, Barry and Diane, for being on. Thank you, Anthony, my technical director. And I appreciate y'all. Come back on Tuesday for the prayer call and next week for midday motivation. Love y'all. Peace out.
Take care.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.